Greetings, folks, and welcome to Play Unplugged TV. I'm your host, Enrico Nardini, for www.playunplugged.com. I'm here with the publisher of Paizo Publishing, Erik Mona, and we're going to talk a little bit about Paizo. So first of all, Erik, my first question is, you know, it's Gen Con Indy 2012, one of the biggest game shows, especially for tabletop gamers in the entire nation. What is new at Paizo that we should be checking out?
Well, we got a ton of awesome stuff. We have the Ultimate Equipment, which is our brand new hardcover book for the Pathfinder role-playing game. It's got about 450 pages of magic items. There's thousands of items in there, the best culled from all of the stuff we've published so far, plus a bunch of new stuff. So a lot of people are really excited about that. We also launched the Rise of the Runelords prepainted plastic miniature set for our Pathfinder Battles line.
Absolutely.
That's 65 figures. It supports the Rise of the Runelords campaign that we just released last month in hardcover format. That's a revisiting of our very first adventure path, kind of the product that started Paizo off on its current track about 5 years ago.
Now, I've just had a chance to peek at those miniatures. We actually reviewed the first set. I was very impressed by the quality of the pre-painted plastics. Because nailing pre-painted plastics and having the paint jobs actually be like solid and like really cool is hard to do, and that set is really great. Rise of the Runelords seems to focus on some larger miniatures. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of giants and stuff in the adventure. So unlike the first set, Heroes and Monsters, where we were like, okay, well, we need goblins and orcs and, you know, characters and things. This really takes the adventure, it takes its lead from the adventure. And so if the adventure has a lot of giants and ogres, we have to put a lot of giants and ogres in the set.
I think that'll be really pleasing for people, because for me, man, the large size miniatures are the coolest. It's like, oh, these big chunky toys, and it's so fun to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bunch of large ones in there. There's a ton of huge ones as well. One of the other things is, this is the second set we've done. So on the first set, which I was really proud of and really liked, but I also learned a lot of stuff. And so this new set has a lot of clear plastics in it, like for fire effects and ghosts and things like that. And then it also has a lot of more ink washes and highlighting effects. So there's more paint steps, more figures, bigger figures. 65 figures in the set. We're really excited about that.
Now, Erik, myself and a lot of the fans on the site are interested in miniatures. How do you manage that process?
Well, it starts really with the art that goes into our books. So we kind of pick out what we think is the best art and would be the most useful figures for people to have. And then we send that art to our partners at WizKids, who make the miniatures. They do sculpts based on those. They send us the sculpts. We look at the picture, look at the sculpts, and say, oh, there's actually 3 buttons on the front of that guy's shirt or whatever. So they make adjustments based on that. Then they have a master painter kind of take the preliminary plastic output, and then he paints it up. And they send that back to the factory, and they use that as the basis to paint every single miniature that comes off the line.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You guys have also, one of the things, and I think it's really awesome, is that with Paizo is you guys have kind of stretched out and you have a lot of partnerships. Reaper, that's a really interesting partnership, because you guys make pre-painted minis with WizKids, but Reaper has their own line of pre-painted minis, fantasy separate, but they do make your unpainted pewter minis. So how did that all work out?
Well, we actually have been working with Reaper for many, many years, and so they've been a good partner of ours for a long, long time. And when we started working with WizKids, I made sure to talk to Reaper, and I said, you know, you guys do great work in the pewter lead, you know, not lead, but the metal miniatures arena. You know, we got a lot of customers who, as much as they like that stuff, they're not painters. You know, they want the pre-painted plastics. You know, what do you guys think if we work with them? And they were very supportive, actually. You know, they understand that it's a little bit different markets, you know, different customers. And so all 3 of the companies involved kind of think the more people who are playing Pathfinder, the more people who are playing with miniatures, the better it is for all of us. So yeah, we all get along pretty well.
And kind of on that same note, it's a really good transition into this topic. You guys also have a bestiary box set. So not only are you supporting it with pre-painted plastics for people who want miniatures, 3-dimensional, and they want to play the game with them, but they don't have the time or they don't want to paint all the miniatures. Then you have your metal figure line from Reaper for people who want to paint the miniatures. But you also have this bestiary box that's like, hey, look, man, here's, you know, you cough up a little bit of dough, and you get a box full of monsters with plastic stands and their cardboard, but it has all the really nice art from the actual game.
Yeah, so what we did is we took the bestiary, the big monster book for the Pathfinder role-playing game, and every illustration that's in that book, plus a bunch of new illustrations that we ordered specifically for the bestiary box product, we put into on these pawns. The pawns are small, medium, and large, and huge figures. So it's every monster, pretty much, it's in the bestiary of those size categories that have illustrations. So we got about 300 plus pawns in the set for $35. And so one of the things that
with
we wanted,
appropriate size bases,
right,
which I
with
thought
the right
was
size
really
base,
slick.
that's really important. And so we didn't think it would work because, you know, if gamers are like us, and we're all gamers at the company, so we like to think of this stuff like, you know, if we don't want to use stuff in our games, then maybe we need to refine the idea a little bit.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I have thousands of miniatures. Like literally, I've been collecting miniatures my whole life, but I don't have everything that I need. You know what I mean?
Of course, nobody
and
does.
so if we're gonna mix and match, you know, most people will have some painted minis and some unpainted minis, maybe some pre-painted plastics and metals mixed at the table. I didn't want to go kind of the traditional counter route, which was just a flat thing that you laid out like a hog or something like that. You know, I wanted things to be more seamless, and so since the metal minis and the plastic minis stand up and are vertically aligned, it only made sense to actually have the pawns stand up as well.
Yeah, it's kind of helps eliminate that kind of like you're looking down at the table and it keeps everything has the same kind of a same thematic element. So you're like, well, I guess you wanted to call it like table feng shui.
Yeah, exactly,
like,
right. That's
you know,
important, I think.
It's like art, man. You don't know what it is, but I know this looks
you know
right.
it's important. Yeah.
You know, where if you had these two-dimensional flat counters, it wouldn't look as good.
And also, you know, with the doing them vertically, it allows us to do the whole image of the creature from their feet to the top of their head. Right. Whereas a lot of the counter approach, it's like maybe you zoom in on their face or something. And this was just, you know, if you see the full body on the mini, you should see the full body on the pawn as well.
And it gives it a little bit of heft that it wouldn't have as just a cardboard counter.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, with that in mind, you know, the Paizo miniatures we've seen. A lot of the original set was kind of a line purchase thing, but now there are some encounter packs. What's the future of that going to be?
We're working with WizKids on some more encounter packs. I think the future ones will include even larger miniatures. So we had a couple of figures that we had created originally for the Rise of the Runelords set, but once, you know, they've got to kind of make the figures and make the paint masters that I talked about earlier, and then they kind of look at it and say, okay, how much is this actually going to cost to make the set? Right. And so at that point, sometimes a couple of models fall off the set. So we make, at the preliminary stage, a little bit more figures that we know we're going to be able to fit in the set ultimately.
Smart, yeah.
But then we're left over with these figures that we really want to do something with. And so we're going to try and make some encounter packs that are based around the figures that we ended up having to cut from the set. And we didn't cut them because they weren't any good. I mean, there's a huge white dragon figure that was one of my favorite figures in the entire set. But for whatever reason, we had to cut it from the set. We want to get that out to players, and so we're working on an encounter pack right now that will incorporate that with some new figures that nobody's ever seen before, not just repaints, and put that out as kind of a super encounter pack.
Now, special request for me. I love one of my absolute favorite things about Paizo and the imagery of it is I love big mouth goblins. I'm a huge goblin fan. I paint many goblin miniatures, and so my question is, will we see a big mouth goblin encounter pack?
Maybe, it's possible. We know that that's very popular and it's something we'd like to do. One thing that I should mention, actually, going back to our partnership with Reaper Miniatures, you may know that right now they're in the midst of a big Kickstarter campaign to do plastic figures in their, what they call their Bones line. And they've been doing this great thing where for $100 at the beginning you got 30 figures, and as they keep raising more money, they keep adding more figures to that. Well, yesterday, as they crested, I think about $655,000.
Which is crazy to think about.
The new add-on was 9 unpainted plastic big mouth goblin figures. So we've started incorporating our Pathfinder metal minis line into their plastic unpainted Bones line as well.
That's great.
And so and you can get that, you know, either as part of your $100 vampire level, you know, support level, or you know, they'll be for sale later as well.
That's super cool.
And those, because they're plastic, because they're unpainted, they're much less expensive than say a metal.